I walked with Source all my life. All my life. To be able to say all angels don't got wings. And I had to learn that set apart don't mean cast aside. And being hidden don't mean you're going to be forgotten. I don't know who need to hear that. But you will. Oseo to my Indians. Salam. Hotep. Shalom. Namaste. Alafia. Aloha. And all that other good stuff y'all don't heard me say before. I hope everybody feeling good for no reason at all. Radiating, vibrating, emanating, being the best illustration in the current version of yourself that you can demonstrate. You hear me? Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. You hear me? I came through to say a few things, you know. A lot of y'all probably getting ready for what we know as Memorial Day, you know, on the Gregorian calendar. You hear me? But every day is Memorial Day for me. So salute to the ancestors. Salute to the ancestors. And one more time, salute to the ancestors. Because without them, we wouldn't be here. Regardless of what we believe. You heard? But I just came through to say a few things. Somewhat feed off the last video, or the message in the last video. You know. Because what you do not accept in yourself controls you. So, if what we do not accept in ourselves controls us, then the next question would be, are we a prisoner to our own denial? Because what we fail to accept in ourselves, or a failure to accept, is a form of denial. So if we can't accept ourselves, and what we don't accept in ourselves controls us, then the question is, are we a prisoner to our own denial? Are you a prisoner to your own denial? And that's an important question. But when I applied that question to me, it made me come to the conclusion of a lot of things, you know. For one, my effort in the form of my energy, is of importance. My time is valuable, and my well-being matter. And yours will too, if you got boundaries, and if you're on a path of ascension, or what I call being better than you never been, in order to get back to who you always been, or your truest self, or your higher self, meaning the being you was before the influence of the people of the world and the systems that govern it, or the systems devised to govern it, had its way with you, like it had its way with me, and had its way with us, before we came to have our way with ourselves as a soul and as a spiritual, and as a spirit enclosed in this matter, or this spacesuit that we call flesh. It's of very grave importance to understand that in order to ascend or get above the cloud with our feet on the ground, that our path of ascension don't include a lot of things we know, a lot of places we know, and a lot of people we know. And it's going to include our ability to get unfamiliar with many things that we have been made familiar with. It's going to include getting unused to a lot of things that we got used to. You know, it's going to include getting knowing the difference between what's normal and what's abnormal or not normal, that has been made normal, so it has been accepted as normal. And especially when it comes to things based on our upbringing, you know, things based on our families, things based on our environment, you know, and many other things that has had a way of making things normal through everyday life that really ain't normal at all. just because we're used to seeing it, or just because we're used to hearing it, or just because we're used to dealing with it, or just because that's what happened, you know, wherever we from and the places that we from, so forth and so on. Y'all know where I'm coming from with it, you know, or because we're used to interacting with it, whatever it may be in your life, you know, like it was in my life. Because we all ain't gonna have the same it factor in reference to what I'm speaking to or what I'm speaking about. But we all gonna have the same it factor in reference to the things we gotta do to get our head above the cloud and our feet above the ground, you know. And we all have the same it factor, you know, based on the reasons that we are here on this physical plane that we call Earth. So, although many things may vary for each one of us who come across these words that's being spoke, a lot of things gonna be the same. You hear me? Because it's what we appear for, it's what we appear here for, and it's what we appear here through, you know, to work out the things necessary in order for us to evolve, expand, and ascend. And contrary to popular belief, ascension work backwards too. Although the word phrase would be known as descending or descension, you know, and we all did that just to be here in flesh. You hear me? Because we weren't flesh first, then came here. We was something else first, and then came here, and then came through who we had to come through in order to be here. You hear me? But as I said, we all did that on arrival, and just the process of being here in physicality was a part of descension. In case somebody missed it in the back, you know, this, and I say that because descension is an act of moving downward, dropping, or falling. So I say ascension work backwards too, because upon dropping into this realm, now everybody on Earth appeared on Earth to reverse the fall after being birthed into it. If you don't listen, you're gonna miss it. So my purpose of making that known is because angels and demons ain't just in the unseen or spiritual realms. I said in the beginning, I walked with Source all my life. I walked with God all my life. I have walked with Spirit all my life. And all angels don't got wings. So angels and demons ain't just in the unseen or spiritual realm. They right here amongst us as everyday people, looking like you and looking like me. You hear me? And if truth be told, a lot of us moved and operated like a demon through our actions, through our behaviors, through our attitudes, through our characteristics. You hear me? So forth and so on, before embarking on our spiritual path toward Godhead or God body, according to our divine inheritance. So regardless of how big or how small of a horse pill it may be to swallow, you know, that's the truth of the matter according to Sawu, you know. But the truth will set you free. And for those who require reference sake, you know, it's many resources that can be resourced, you know, to bear witness of the things that I have just spoke. And for those who are familiar with the Bible, I'm gonna just use the Bible reference since that's what most people familiar with. But even according to the Bible, it says, or there's a verse that says, even the devil appeared as an angel of light. You know, and when I break that down, to me, it was speaking to and about the nature of humanity. You know, at least a part or aspect of and at least a part or aspect of the potential of what our nature is or can be. You know, there's another scripture that goes something to the nature of even though we wrestle with principalities and powers in high places, which that high place gonna be our mind, but the mind can also resonate on a low frequency, depending on the individual. The beauty is that we get to choose. I hope I didn't make that too complicated. You know, even though we wrestle with principalities and powers in high places, the beauty is that we get to choose. So, what are you choosing? What you do not accept in yourself controls you. Are you a prisoner to your own denial? The beauty is we get to choose. So what are we choosing? And the actuality is we've been choosing. We've been learning. We've been growing. And the beauty is we still got a choice to change our mind if a change of mind has to be made. You know? And anybody seeking change, that's the evidence that a change of mind needs to be made for the change that want to be seen. You hear me? So, thanks to all of you who have joined me on this journey, where our soul, where our mind, and where our consciousness meet. You hear me? Because in that place, we are one. So, continue doing your work. Stay on your journey. Beware of the distractions. And don't you be the distraction. You know how to distract the distractions. Stay focused. Stay diligent. You know. And all those other things, you know, the 5 Ds. You hear me? You know, and if your presence ain't good enough, let your absence be a guiding light. So you're gonna have to know how to sit by yourself, as I talked, or be by yourself, or whatever the case may be, as I talked about in the previous video, and do the work. If you don't do nothing else, do the work. Cause if you're doing the work, you can't be exposed. Ain't nothing to be exposed. Because you're healing by doing the work. You know? And I say that because when you can laugh at the things that once brought you pain, you're on your way to healing. When you can talk about the things that once brought you pain, you're on your way to healing. And you can't be exposed if you're doing the work. You hear me? So do the work. Other than that, once again, feel good for no reason at all. If you don't got a reason, find one. Find a memory. And that may be the only thing that you have to hold on to until you don't have to hold on to nothing to be in that space. But do what you got to do to get into that space. You hear me? That's keeping your head above the clouds and your feet on the ground. You know? And until we do it again, my name is Sawu. Be you how you be you. Thanks for the likes, shares, comments, questions. Peace out, wolves. Salute to the Cosmic Consciousness family and soul tribe. Salute to the new subscribers. I see y'all. Thank you. You hear me? Welcome to the family. So forth and so on. Those who donate, those who love offer, you know, so forth and so on. All my information is in the description part of the video. I appreciate y'all. You know, 3 times. And yeah, I ain't come through to stay long. You know, it's already late. It's been a long day for me. But I had to come through and say something, you know, for y'all who's showing up. And I appreciate y'all who's showing up. You hear me? And I hope you getting something, you know, out the jewels that I be dropping. But as I said, until we do it again, I'm known as Sawu. Be you how you be you. Stillness, abundance, love, light, health, and wholeness. Peace and love, family, till we do it again. You heard?